Hello and welcome to Parinam Academy, and I am Vignesh Parmeswaran, and today we will be doing some functions, which is kind of interesting because I thought it could be pretty simple and looks like we all need some clarity, right? So I spent some time trying to find out how I can show in some good examples, so that I thought probably I could code, show it to you, then you follow, right? All right, so first things first, you all know what to type. So we are going to type let's type from sense hat import sense hat, right? And then second would be sense space equal space sense hat s uppercase h uppercase, and then you do sense dot clear, obviously. So once I am done with this, I click run, and then I see the beautiful screen is cleared now, which is good, right? And this is where we are going to do some functions today. A function will always start with a definition of the function. So when I say def, that starts the definition of the function. And today I'm going to write a function um, to play a game. I don't know. It's a counting rhyme. So it's a children's counting rhyme. When I was a kid, we used a kind of a variation of this, and you probably should know this, right? It's eeny, meeny, meeny, miny, mo. Right. So that is a counting rhyme. So I'm going to type counting rhyme. Um, so the idea of this is to make sure we get the person out, right? Like you have like five people in a group. You don't know who to pick. You just eliminate people, right? So you just go around and say eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and then you take people out. I don't have to explain this to you. You guys know this better than me. So what am I going to do here? So I am creating a function, and let's start with the basic of the function. So a function will always start with a definition def, right? And after the definition, you type in the name of the function. And in Python, so we are using Python as a programming language. Whenever we use Python, um, like sometimes, sorry, most of the times we use an underscore in between when we try to name the function, right? So here you see the sense had the S is uppercase, H is uppercase, and there are no underscore between them. Is this a function? Yeah, it's not a function. I mean, sorry, no, incorrect, wrong. It is not a function. It is a class. Uh, so like whenever you have a function, you put, like you remember like you did sense dot show message. You see sense dot show message and sense dot show letter. That is a function. And how do I know it is a function? Because it has all lowercase, and it has an underscore in between, and also has a bracket. So whenever you have a lowercase and then underscore and then brackets, you know that is a function. So this does not have that. It has uppercase and does not have any underscore, and it's a class. It's something that we will learn later in our course. So this is a show letter. That is another function. Whenever you type, it says function, right? And then it gives an example of what the function does. So this is a function, right? So we are going to create some function on our own, and the function that I want to create is counting rhyme. So what is the idea of having a function here? So I'm going to write only one statement, which is print, and inside print, I want to say I am. So that will be just one line, and then here I'm going to pass in a name. So here this is called argument. Argument. Arg- Argument. Maybe I spell it wrong. So it's argument, right? So we are going to pass an argument. So in function, the keywords is function, function name, argument. You have to pass, 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 however you want to call, pass an argument. And second line, I'm going to say print whatever here. I'm going to type here. So I am, right? So now let's calling the function. So I'm going to say counting rhyme, and inside I'm going to pass my name, which is Vignesh, right? So when I say So what should happen? So when I click run, functions are a specific lines of code. So everything that follows the definition of the function, like you see those two spaces, it's called definition of the function. So everything that comes after the definition of the function uh, will execute whenever the function is called. So this is called calling a function, right? So it's called calling a function, and this one is definition of the function, and the one in the brackets is called arguments of the function. Okay. Yeah, whenever you want to put a comment, you put a hash. Whenever you want to comment something, you just hash and then it's a comment. All right? So when I click run, what happens? So if I click run and then I see here it says I am Vignesh, right? So I can call this function multiple times. So this time instead of Vignesh, I'm going to call myself. Um, what can I call myself? Yeah, I'm looking for names. So maybe I can call Joe, right? So I can call counting rhyme Joe. Counting. I mean that doesn't make sense. Counting rhyme doesn't make sense. So counting rhyme Bob, right? And then counting rhyme Alice. So I call the function multiple times. So every time I have to print I am name. So if I click run, you'll see I am Vignesh, I am Joe, I am Bob, I am Alice, right? Yeah, I mean, that's what I wanted to show. Like you just type in few lines of code and then you call the function multiple times and then it's going to print, right? So let's go back to the eeny, meeny, miny, moo. So I'm going to remove all this and I'm going to, instead of this, I'm going to have the entire eeny, meeny, miny, moo, and I will show you next time how you can do it in same line. But for today, since you know only one way of printing this, like if you want to print multiple lines, you know only one way of printing this. I'm going to follow the same way that you know. I don't want to confuse you, so I'm going to have like four print statements, and let's do this and this one, and then name. So what happens if I put a comma? Let's see what happens if I put a comma. Is out. So and then I'm going to call a function, like that is the function, right? And then I'm going to call a function counting rhyme. So how do you call a function? You type in and then you say Vignesh, because that's my name. So I'm going to click run. I'm going to see the output. Yeah, I see. You cannot do like this. So Vignesh is also it. When you put a comma, it thinks you are talking about two different things, right? So what happens if I put a plus? I don't want to complicate. Let's do the first thing. So eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by the toe. If he hollers, let him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, Vignesh is out. I mean, some variation of it we used to have back home. Right? So instead of this, what happens if I put a plus and I'm going to see? So when you put a plus, it's going to add two numbers, right? So does it add two numbers? No, it doesn't. It just printed right next to each other. So whenever you want to have multiple things, I just added a space so that I can read it as two different words here. So now I see. Let it run again. Yeah, so it says "Eeny, meeny, miny, moe, catch a tiger," you know the rhyme. And then it says, let's close the Raspberry Pi part here, all the way up, all the way up. Yep. So, and then it says Vignesh is out, right? And now let's see what happens. In the end, I'm going to add just a print statement, um, just for an empty line. I can do it multiple ways. I can just put a slash n here. Uh, I mean, I don't want to go that today, so maybe we'll just do a print and a blank line, right? So this time, instead of just calling Vignesh, let's call Vignesh and Alice, right? So I'm calling the function two different times. So I created a function which prints multiple lines here, and then I call the function two different times. Let's see what happens. I click run. Yeah, any mini mini move, Vignesh is out. Same thing, Alice is out. Right? It's fun, right? Right now it's more fun. So I just call the function two different times. What I wanted to teach you guys last class was to have a list of names. So I'm going to have names, and these names will be there will be four people in the team. Alice, Joe, Bob, and Vignesh. But I don't want to be the person who is out, right? So I'm kind of cheating. Yeah, so I'm going to put Alice is Alice. I want Alice to be out first, and then I want Joe to be out next, and then I want Bob to be out, right? And then finally Vignesh, but I don't want Vignesh to be out. Right? So let's do this. And then here, so I created a list. You guys know what a list is, right? So you guys did list lot of time. So I'm going to put for name in names, right? So that's how you bring a list. The plural for an item in a list, for singular in plural, right? And this time I don't want to type in everything again. Now we have a function, so I'm going to type counting rhyme name, right? So that's it. Just two lines, and then I'm going to click run. When I click run, it says it just put three times. First time it did, and then Alice is out. Second time it did, Joe is out. Third time it did, Vignesh is out. And then I can just write like one more line, but this time here I can say Vignesh uh, is the winner, something like that, right? So uh, more fun, right? So whatever we want, but make sure it does not have the two spaces in the beginning, because if it is having two spaces, it will be inside the for loop. So how else I can know? I can just collapse and expand and say what is inside what, right? So that should be a final statement. And then if I click run, I'll see all three and then Vignesh is the winner, right? And yeah, it is fun. And again, if it is going to be this fast, nobody understands, right? We want to make it an actual game. So what do? We add a time to it. So from time, import sleep. And here we are going to start counting rhyme, and then we are going to sleep for a second so that it appears as if we are actually counting, like actually, I mean, instead of 1 second, let's do 5 seconds, which will extend this video for a long time, but let's see what happens. So I'm going to click run. Now it says any mini mini mo, whatever Alice is out. Now it is doing any mini mini mo again, and then now it says Joe is out, right? Now they are doing any mini mo again. It says Bob is out, like 5 seconds gap, and finally after 5 seconds, it says Vignesh is the winner, right? Oh man, so yeah, then you get some good ideas, right? So and then you get, hey, uh, instead of like all of them and then Alice out, why don't we just print this and then let's wait for a second and then print Alice out, right? So what do? Same thing. We just remove this line. It says print. Um, no, actually, you know what? Like I don't want to. So let's remove these two lines altogether, right? So it just has only any minimum, the counting rhyme, nothing else, right? And then here we can just say print name is out and then print sleep and sleep for 5 seconds. Here, do we need to print name? I don't think so, because this time arguments are not required. So whenever you want to remove the argument, you remove it on the definition of the function and also calling the function. So this is calling the function. Okay, so you want to remove the arguments from the definition and calling, right? So instead of 5 seconds, let's make it three. You don't want to drag for a long time, so I'm gonna click run. It says oh yeah, what happened? I'm gonna click stop. Maybe I should put the sleep first, right? So put the sleep first and then say the name is out, and then yeah, so that's how it is. So I'm gonna click run now. Any many many more, catch a tiger by the toe, blah blah blah. Alice is out, and then again another any many many more, right? And then somebody is out. So is yeah, but it doesn't give us some space. So let's add some fun. So this is what you do, right? Whenever whenever you write a program, you get great ideas, and then you're like, you know what, I want to try this out. So um, so you're gonna print that, and then you're gonna sleep for some time, right? Yeah, okay. Okay, remove that. Yeah. So after that, sleep for 1 second. Oh, sorry. Sleep for a second and then click run. So any mini mini move, something happens. Alice is out. Again, any mini mini move, something is happening. Joe is out. Any mini mini move, something is happening. Bob is out. Vignesh is the winner. There you go. That is the program. That is how you create a function, and then you call the function multiple times. Now you have a counting rhyme. So you took care of everybody, right? Right. So now go create a function for another cheer and chat. Right. You can be like east or west. Saya is the best. Shana is the best. You can write whatever you want. Right. If you have any questions, just ping me, call me, message me. I hope this is helpful. Right. Talk to you guys. Talk to you all soon.